use. We're not cleaning up no motherfucker. Don't call me.
Exactly.
Don't
Exactly.
give me the what's up big head text. I'm good. Don't call me a cone because I'm happy with my non-black woman. If I'm with one, I date black women. But you know, and that's another thing too. A lot of people, there's people in the chat, and I know you don't want to talk about the interracial thing. There's a difference between interracial dating and interracial supplementation. Meaning, I date black women, but I'm not gonna put all my chips on y'all motherfuckers and y'all listing bullshit. I'm fucking 5'5". I'm gonna fuck with who fucks with me, and I'm going for sisters first. And if sisters want to play games, I'm gonna get mine
Next.
one way or the other.
Next. See, the
A
only
lot of brothers going in on me. Have you noticed that? I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Because if I raise the bar, they know that their shit is done.
I say raise the bar, brother.
You're right and
and keep
exact
on
with
and
that.
keep on doing it
That's
and
that's
keep
why
on
that's
doing it.
why that's why you're here. By and large, black women will say shit like, "Well, if you're gonna be with me, it's a package deal. Cause just know I have children."
Oh,
No,
The
no, no.
fuck?
She's right to say that, and you're right to say no.
say
Thank you.
fuck that.
Exactly.
Man, it would hit
Me and
on a
my
lot
kids,
of
Exactly.
me and my
it
kids
would
are a package deal.
it would hit on a lot of points, man. But
Nobody's concerned about the women that don't want us. Fellas, is that unanimous? We're not messed up about the women that
I
don't
mean,
want us. Am
I
I
already
correct?
said that,
You
but see,
did. You
that's their
did.
only go-to.
Right.
See,
You're
this is
right.
Little
You're right.
Wayne. This is Little Wayne. Look how happy Little
This is
Wayne
crazy.
looks. And then not only that, the
How
women
many baby
that said
mamas
they
does
didn't
Lil
want
Wayne
him.
have? That's the
That's
question.
yeah,
No,
Lil
but
Wayne.
what I'm
Yeah, I'm not
saying
even gonna get
is,
into that.
but Lil Wayne's not going back to jail now. He ain't
How
dealing
many
with the
baby
bullshit
mamas do
anymore.
Future has? You see a pattern here. It because these dudes are not the reason why I mentioned those two because those dudes are not the most built. You can't say that those dudes are alphas as far as a physical level.
But Little Wayne has changed it.
Black woman had our back. She always put us on the map. She nurtured us from a babe. So first teacher, look at that. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. Go and get your bread up. Why you feeling down? Go ahead and put your head up. Why you fed up? Why you stressed out? Yeah, I know you really messed up, but go and look around. Why you pressed up? Know you blessed up. Go ahead and fill your cup up with some lemonade. Cause when life gives you lemon, you block it like Russell Simmons. And just know that your life made with a clear shade. Cause I'm feeling good, feeling good, good, good. I'm feeling good, feeling good, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, feeling good, I'm feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good. What's good, black people? First and foremost, if you're a first time viewer of my content on this video, like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, I have been informed on the Black Manosphere for maybe a good 6 months now. At least for a good 6 months. Um, I have been promoting and endorsing some of the lectures. I would call them lectures, but some of the lessons and the things that are said among the Black Manosphere, not concerning Obsidian, for people who may know him, if you're listening to this video, Obsidian or Oshay in particular, but listening to people like Black Ram, uh, the Book of Opheronomy, C Boogie, those people, Mr. Mysta Lemba. He's another brother that I listen to for information concerning women. All of these people that I have named, concerning C Boogie, Mysta Lemba, Black Ram, the Book of Opheronomy, these are men that I would strongly recommend for men to listen to in terms of being an alpha male and how to conduct themselves, right? Now, only certain men that I would advise you to listen to out of the men that I named concerning the Black Manosphere, that I would advise you to listen to concerning how to conduct yourself with black women. Um,
I have not fully engaged myself in all of these men's work in their content. I try my best to listen to them, not on a daily basis, but whenever I can, on a weekly basis, concerning being an alpha male and how to conduct yourself as an alpha male, as a black man, right? But here's the issue that I have with the black manosphere, right? And let's just get to the chase. Um, so for people who may know people like Obsidian or Oshay, and I'm not calling these people out, and I'm not trying to start no beef or nothing like that, because it's not necessary. All right. But here's the issue that I have. It's just one issue. All right. Out of everything concerning what the Black Manosphere is about, I'm not against the issue, or I'm not against the idea of black men creating content or creating a platform where they can talk among themselves and create brotherhood. That's what we need in the black community and within the black race. However, when we are looking at the Black Manosphere, I have not seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not seen one black man, and even among the people that I have named, I have not seen one man make one video, one form of content to engage a conversation, or to, excuse me, to start a conversation, or create a form of a platform or foundation to encourage young black men like myself to build relationships, build uh, nations, or build a family with black women. They have tried to set this narrative that black men should not date or should not associate with black females in general. They have told particular black males that if you aren't getting any attention, if you're not getting any attention from black women, please look otherwise. Look for other options. There are other races of women for you to pursue. Go after white women. Go after Latina women. Go after Asian women. You know, be a bed bug if you got to. But God forbid that you spend the time and the patience for you to go out and find you a black woman. This is the main issue that I have with the black manosphere, right? And I may not be fully educated on the black manosphere. Maybe that's not what the whole full concept or precept of the black manosphere is about. Correct me if I'm wrong. Put that in the comment section below. But this is what I have been seeing, and this is part of the conversation as you saw in the beginning of this video, right? They push this narrative that black women ain't shit, right? But then again, if I'm not mistaken, in Obsidian's live stream, right? And again, I'm not calling this man out. I'm not saying that he's a bad person, right? I only seen a little bit of his content here and there. But if I'm not mistaken, I was watching his live stream, and today, as he usually does his morning 9 a.m. Live stream, I was listening to him talk to this black woman, and basically he gave her the advice that there's nothing wrong with being a hoe because you are doing God's work. Now, I don't know if he was being humorous or if he was being literal. If he was being humorous, put that in the comment section below, but I took it as being literal. But he gave advice to this black woman, and I'm not going to go all the way back to try and find when and where he said it. But for people who were there, y'all know what I'm talking about. Now, my issue is that within the black manosphere, most of their conversations when it concerns black men isn't how to be better men, but it's more likely what women you should disassociate yourself from. And when it concerns women that you should disassociate yourselves from, they don't inform black men to not date non-black women. They don't tell black men to be aware of these non-black women, or in particular white women, based upon the history and the dialogues that we have had with white women, the whole history and the trauma that has transpired between the black man and the white woman. You know, we're not dealing with no historical narrative concerning that. We're not dealing with Willie Lynch or the bed bugs and buck breaking and the sex breeding farms and Emmett Till, so on and so forth. black men who have continuously have been lynched, and we're not just talking about physically, but we have been talking about mentally and socially. When it concerns people like Bill Cosby, when it concerns people, even young black men who are in college and they have had their lives taken. They have had their lives taken, not just physically, but being incarcerated by black, excuse me, not black, but by white female, by white women, because they have been accused of being sexually assaulted. These white women have been accusing black men of sexually assaulting them, molesting them, raping them, so on and so forth, right? None of the men that I know of within the black manosphere has the nerves or the audacity or the balls to speak on these particular issues. None of these men that I know of, other than a couple of black men within the black manosphere, none of the men that I have seen personally have made any content to encourage black men to pursue black women. Do you know what I hear when I go on these particular platforms and these panels on Obsidian Network and Oshay? And I'm not coming at anybody in particular, but what I hear when it concerns these men is that, you know, they'll come up and they'll be like, first and foremost, the first women that I pursue are black women. Now they'll make that clear, but then they'll sidetrack, or they'll tiptoe through the tulips and be like, I ain't got no issue with any other race of women, and if I do fall in love with any other race of women, it is what it is. But first and foremost, the women that I pursue and that I chase after are black women. But if it doesn't work out with black women, then I'm going to look out for other opportunities with other races of women. That's the mindset not only that they have, but that they instill and program within other black males that listen to them. Young black males at that. For me, I am 20 years old. I still have a lot to do, and I have a lot ahead of me, right? And so they are pushing this narrative. They are projecting this mentality, this concept upon young black males. And this right here is the downfall. And it can be the downfall of our race if we continue to push a narrative like this. And I'm not saying this narrative is common. I'm not saying this is common around black males for black men not to pursue or build relationships with black women. But we're not being the medicine or the antidote to our issues if we are pushing the narrative that black men should seek other options in terms of other races of women. And I made this point in the group chat or the live stream chat when Obsidian was live and people was going back and forth with me on this issue. But I was like, how are you going to have a black manosphere, black manosphere, and the men, most of the men that you have upon your platform who speak don't have black women. And if they do have black women, they're either divorced to them or they have had babies with these particular black women, right? I haven't seen one positive image in the black manosphere for these particular black men like my age or people around my age to look up to. I haven't seen one black male in the black manosphere that have set the example or have put down or laid down the pathway or the example for how a black man is supposed to be. Yes, it's good for a man to be alpha male. It's good for a black male to to conduct himself in a way where he's number one or he's first in his life, for him to have his priorities in check. But I haven't seen any of these black males who are on these stages, these platforms. I don't see any of these black men with black women, for one. I'm not seeing any of them married to black women. I don't see any of them having children with black women. Even with C Boogie. And I appreciate the content that C Boogie makes, but he used to be married to a white woman. And that's what somebody told me in the live chat. I don't know that for certain, but it's not that far from the truth based upon some of the content I have seen from him. And I'm not knocking him, because I still listen to his content every now and then and stuff like that. But it's that kind of example. You know what I'm saying? It's these men that are on these platforms concerning the manosphere when it concerns building relationships, concerning building families. You have to understand when we look upon every other race of people, they build based upon family traditions. They build upon building families and building marriages, right? The only way that the black community and the black race can rise and advance and progress as a people is that we build families, right? If I'm not mistaken, Obsidian, a man on his platform asked him, where would you be if you did not live or you wasn't raised in a two-parent household? He was like, I don't know where I would be if I didn't have my mother and my father, in the same household, right? So for him to project the concept where he don't want to be married to a black woman or don't want to be married in general or to build a family, and then he projects that mentality upon young black men, you know what I'm saying? You're pushing a virus. That's what you're doing within the black race, and that's what you're doing with black men. If you, as a black male, was raised up in a two-parent household, and because of you being raised up in a two-parent household, don't know whether it's functional or dysfunctional, but you was raised up in a two-parent household where both the mother and the father was married, and they both encouraged you to be the man that you are today, and then for you to push that which you did not come from, not only is that hypocritical, but you are being a cancer to your own race of people. If you are going to be about black men, then please encourage black men to marry, procreate, pursue, build with, and cherish and value black women. They set the narrative that 95% of black women are these hoes that are promoted and endorsed on social media platforms. That is not true at all. It is common in terms of social media. Yes, it is promoted and highly endorsed on what these women do with their mouths on in between their legs and all this act up challenge and what I do for the dick challenge and all this other type of stuff. But this should not be the narrative, nor should it be the image of the black woman of today. I will agree, and I'm not going to dispute with anybody when somebody tells me that, some of these females are out of pocket. However, this is never, and nor should it be to you or anybody else, this should never be the narrative, nor should it be our mentality of how our black women are today, because most of our black women are virtuous. You may have never heard that before. Most of our women are virtuous, but they are not put out in the media. They are not promoted within the media. Most of these women who are virtuous, the people who are like Lauryn Hill or Shahrazad Ali or Dr. Francis Curtis Wilson, these type of women, they're not put out in the out front. They're not put out on big platforms because there's a agenda against the black male and the black woman. And for men, for black men to use a platform, to build a platform just to encourage black men to abandon their women, to build a platform just for black men to procreate and seek other races of women, you are being a cancer to your race and a dishonor to your ancestors. And I'll use this as an example. The fallout of the black manosphere is going to be one of these things, right? And I'm not going to name all of the issues that concern the black manosphere because they've had their particular drama with other men that used to be in the manosphere or are still in the manosphere, right? And I'm not going to deal with that particular issue. But one of the main viruses or bone cancers within the black manosphere is interracial dating. There's no platform, there's no standard, there's no principle, no law or commandment that has been made when it concerns men who represent the black manosphere. Because if I'm not mistaken, all of the men, and if not all, at least 95% of the men who represent the black manosphere are not for their women. They're not for their women. The content and the videos that I've seen from these men makes it very plain and clear that they are not for their women. How are you going to have a black manosphere and you don't preserve your blackness? How are you going to be a part of the black manosphere and you're going to talk about black male empowerment and black brotherhood, but you're with a white woman? You're with an Asian woman. You're with a Latina woman. And then your children aren't even black. They're mixed. So how are you going to preserve and pass down that black manosphere to your mixed child? They don't know what it means to be a black man or a black woman if you have a daughter. But if you have a mixed son, how he's going to know how to be a black man if he wasn't produced from a black man and a black woman, nor raised up in a black household? How? If I heard Oshay correctly, he said on one live stream that he was a Negro. He ain't no African. He was a Negro. He said he don't even wear the clothing of the African people, his own people, mind you, but he don't even wear the clothing of the African people when he goes to the continent or whenever he takes a visit there, because he's a Negro. And that's exactly his perception. That's exactly his mindset is. And again, like I said, I'm not making this video to come at anybody to start anything, but I'm basically stating the obvious, right? You have these men who have built a platform called the Black Manosphere, where they have built a platform for black men, but they don't promote anything that is beneficial to the black man nor to the black community. You know what I would respect from the Black Manosphere? If every black man who was in the Black Manosphere have laid down the foundation that we are only going to be for black women, we are only going to pursue black women, we are going to encourage young black men to build black families, functional black families at that, and teach their sons how to be for their women, how to be for their brothers, to be their brother's keeper, but to also be their lady's man. For their for these black men who are on these Black manospheres who are 40 and 50 years old. These men are 40 going on to 50 years old talking about, black men, you don't need to pursue black women. If she don't want you, you got other options. You're putting out this narrative to these young black men to end up like you, a whole bum. And I'm not talking about anybody in particular on these platforms or anything in particular, but I'm just stating the obvious. But I don't want to waste any more time that I already have concerning this very issue. This is just one main issue that I have seen within the so-called Black manosphere when it concerns black men becoming alpha males, having their own platform to speak on issues that concern them. Most of the platforms and most of the content that I have seen from some of the people within the Black manosphere, all they do is complain about the women, right? If I heard correctly, Obsidian gave advice to a woman. If I haven't said this before, he gave advice to a woman saying that being a hoe is doing the Lord's work. It's doing God's work. There's nothing wrong with being a hoe as long as you are conducting yourself correctly, to paraphrase what he was saying. But I know that he said word from word that being a hoe is doing God's work. Basically telling you that if a hoe wanted some dick from him, he don't mind entertaining a hoe. He don't mind entertaining the women that he uses his platform to speak out against, right? And I'm not talking about just him in particular, but it's other men as well. But I'm not going to go any further with this particular issue, but I feel like this needed to be said because I haven't seen any other black man who listens to the Black manosphere speak on these particular issues, right? So that's all I want to say concerning this very topic. If you're going to be about black empowerment or black brotherhood, if you're going to push a narrative or a platform that's concerning the black quote-unquote manosphere, then be about your black women. Because there wouldn't be a Black manosphere if there wasn't a black woman to give birth to your black ass. As far as I see it, this isn't a Black manosphere. This is a Negro manosphere. As far as I see it, most of the black men, and I'm not talking about the men that I have named in particular, but as far as I see it, I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but as far as I see it, most of the men that I have seen on these manospheres are Negroes. Like on these platforms, I've seen more black men show more appreciation to non-black women than black women themselves. I've seen black men on these Black manospheres show more appreciation to a white bitch than their own mother. And I'm being dead serious. I have seen black men tell them to please find anything other than a black female, because not only do they push the white narratives that white men feed them when it concerns their own women, but they entertain and endorse the narrative of how, quote unquote, deviant and barbaric some of these females are. And that's not to exclude the facts that there are certain black females out here who are out of their mind. But we're not going to exclude the history between the black man and the white woman. We're not going to exclude the history between the black man and non-black women, and even historically concerning lynching, bed bucking, so on and so forth. We will not do that here, at least. Black men over here, I love Asian women, I love white women, I love this woman and that woman. I don't see any other race of women talk about you like this, though. The simpery. In conclusion, before I go any further than I have already this will be the fallout and the downfall of the black manosphere if these black men who are on these platforms and are the forerunners of the black manosphere do not promote and endorse the black family and black love to black men. If they do not encourage black men to marry and to find black women and to preserve themselves and their brotherhood and their families, their heritage, their history, and their culture with another black woman, we will cease to exist as a people. That's all I have to say concerning this very topic. Comments below about how you felt about what I had to say. If you like what I had to say, if you didn't like what I had to say. Support my clothing line business. The link to that will be in the description box below. Support my YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube. Turn on your notifications. Thank you for listening to what I had to say concerning this very issue. Until next time, I'm Tyrone, and I am out.
I'm a true terrorist.
I would never doubt that this is where I belong. You see what I've become, My life has moved so fast, My work is never done, Through the looking glass, I see no time for looking back. The past is in the past, The future's in my grasp. In a place mentally like it's meant to be, heaven sent for me, the universal entity drive.